And Rotarians. I didn't come out right there. Where's everybody at? 4 day wedding, dollar? 4 day week, maybe. No, oh, that way. All right. Just dust through. Hey, well, thanks. It's our greeter, Jerry and Dave. Thank her for his ticket master and Chris for his sergeant at arms for Fort Worth Committee. I don't see Beth, so she didn't make it today. She's here, right? Oh, I want to thank Pete, Mark, and Mike Zwick for all of our speakers that they line up. Always have good speakers. And Dad is not here today, so we don't bow your heads, pray. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for everything you've done for us. I ask you to continue doing all this stuff for us. I mean, little things that we take for granted, waking up, living our lives, and we get blessings like what I read yesterday from a dear friend, Shannon Graham. Good news. And I ask you to keep it up and look over all the people that are in the hospital and all the first responders. I thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Rich, you ready to do the sergeant at arms report?
All right. I'm gonna say that's only one. That's impressive. All right. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarian and our exchange student who was able to make it in today, and of course our incredible guest speaker who will be up here today. And welcome again to the August 29th meeting of the Rotary Club of Beavercreek. And happy National College Colors Day. I don't see any Buckeye gear in here, so I'm guessing everyone is avoiding wearing scarlet and gray until OSU breaks that streak Michigan has on them.
10 years.
Also, did you know the largest margin of victory in that rivalry is 86-0? Michigan. Anyways, moving on to birthdays and anniversaries. September 3rd, looks like we have some twins. We have our Fire Marshal Randy and Jack Henderson celebrating birthdays on the 3rd. Member anniversaries, Dave Cusack will be celebrating 14 years on the 2nd of September. And Amanda and David Hayes will be celebrating a 27 years of, or their 27th anniversary on the 2nd of September as well. Some good things that happened this day in history, going all the way back to 708 AD. The oldest Japanese coin was minted, and you may want to check your piggy bank to see if you have a old copper coin that with a square hole in the middle of it, because those little things are worth anywhere between $1,000 to $10,000 right now.
Shit.
1854, Daniel Holiday patented the first self-governing windmill. 1885, inventor Gottlieb Daimler filed for a patent for a two-wheel riding car, which is more commonly known as a motorcycle nowadays. 1898, the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company was incorporated. And fun fact, the first plant was bought for a down payment of $3,500. And to this date, the company has now made over $20 billion in sales. So I believe that is a good investment for them. 1935, Roundtree introduced the famous Kit Kat, featuring the 3 layers of wafers cut into finger slices and surrounded by delicious chocolate. 1997, Netflix was founded. Originally, Netflix, I'm sure we all remember, was a DVD rental service and didn't become an online streaming platform until 2007. Do we have anyone in here that likes stock market stuff?
Sure.
All right. So, Netflix went public May 23rd, 2002 with an IPO price of $15 a share or $1.16 at the now split adjusted price. So if you decided to buy 1 share of Netflix back then, instead of going and renting a few movies, Today, you would have a total of 14 shares and a total value of just over $17,000. I'm not good with finances and all that stuff, but I believe that is a good ROI. And then in 2020, Elon Musk unveiled a pig called Gertrude with a coin-sized computer chip in her brain. Now for some fun things to celebrate. Saturday is Frankenstein Day, and this is a fun Mandela effect quiz. Did Dr. Frankenstein say it's alive or he's alive?
He is alive.
If you said it's, you do not owe me $1.
Ooh.
Do we have any franchise owners in here? All right, well, I know Joe, who's not here, loves franchises because not only is Saturday National Franchise Day, but I saw that he also won 100 days of free coffee from Dunkin' Donuts recently.
Oh.
Sunday is definitely a lovely day as it is Love Litigating Lawyers Day and We Love Men Laws Day. And maybe one day we can find a lawyer who can get around gag orders and attorney-client privileges and write a legendary memoir. Dave. Monday is a new month to celebrate things all month long, like one of those teenage girls that celebrate their birthdays all month long. First one definitely is the best monthly celebration because Beth, it is
Library card sign up month.
Library Card Sign Up Month next month. And those are still free, right? We also have National Coupon Month, National Square Dance Month, Fall Hat Month, Chicken Month. Greta, you'll love this one. I'm sure you already know it's National Mortgage Professional Month. And then also a solid reminder to remember the number 988. Next month is also National Suicide Prevention Month. Also, Monday, we have kicking off the month National No Rhyme or Reason Day. And if you think there are no words that rhyme with anything, just do a quick little Google search on Eminem rhyming words with orange and silver. It's pretty fascinating how he can make rhymes out of words that don't rhyme. And then also National Hotel Employee Day, which we definitely find a way to make it legal for all hotel employees to write a memoir because I have some good stories that I would love to share, just can't say names. Tuesday, we have National Pierce Your Ears Day and also National Blueberry Popsicle Day. And I have been told by myself that those are healthy because they may have fruit in them. Moving on to Wednesday, we got U.S. Bowling League Day and one of Human Resources' favorite days, Global Talent Acquisition Day, which is just a fancy title for a recruiter. And then Thursday, we have National Eat an Extra Dessert Day, which I've also been told by myself is healthy because that extra one cancels out the first dessert. Thursday is also National Newspaper Carrier Day. If you're looking for some things to do tonight, Beavercreek will be at Woodward High School to obviously continue their undefeated streak in non-conference play. Oh, is that home?
Yeah.
Correction, they will be obviously beating Woodward at home to continue that undefeated non-conference streak this season. Tuesday, our friends at the Chamber will have their monthly lunch together, just right over at the Wandering Griffin. And then finally, some Beaver Creek student awesomeness now that school is finally in session and Paul is finally back to join us here. The big news, the men's cross country team is ranked first and the women's team is ranked 7th in the whole entire state of 08. All right. Making sure that joke earlier didn't offend everybody here. Also, we had Beaver Creek High School English teacher Lauren Kobar was recently presented with the CPP Instructor of the Year Award from Sinclair College. Unfortunately, we saw our varsity football team lose to the undefeated powerhouse that is Xenia last Friday, 18-27. Unfortunately, the JVB football team lost to Milford 30-20. Our women's cross country team took second at the Centerville Saturday Night Lights event. Men's cross country team also took second there and then also took first in the men's open race. The women's JV cross country team took first at the Centerville meet and the men's JV cross country team also took first at the Centerville meet. And they also had 6 people finish in the top 10, which is a good way to secure that first place win. Middle school cross country, more of the same. The girls took first with our very own Ellie Allen taking first place, and the boys took fourth in that same meet. And both teams took first in the Fairborn Fire Hawk Invitational with Maddie James and Ellie James finishing first and second in that event. Women's varsity volleyball lost to Jonathan Alder 3-1. The JV volleyball team beat Northmont 2-0, and the JVB volleyball team beat Northmont 2-1. Women's varsity soccer beat Miamisburg 3-0. Men's varsity team beat Fairfield 3-1, and then went crazy on Miamisburg and beat them 9-0. And then wrapping up sports, we got women's varsity tennis 5-0. Now to our favorite part. Today, if you are not wearing your badge, that will be $1. I couldn't keep track of everyone who came in late. So if that is you, that will be $1. If you ever pierced your ears, that'll be $1. If you've ever bowled in a bowling league, that'll be $1. And then this is going to have a certain demographic get out of this one for sure. But if you've ever tossed newspapers onto a driveway or a porch, that is also $1. David, time for happy thoughts.
I'll use some money over here. Thank you. Josh, I'll stick right over you, but wrap it up. I guess we did fill up. Couple of announcements. The Popcorn Festival is this weekend. Next week, yeah. Don't rush it. No, I mean, not tomorrow. Don't show up tomorrow. What is it? Should you be by yourself? The 6th and the 7th. 6th and the 7th. And Jim's going to be sending you back to remind you of it. And do we have any happy bucks? Pretty funny. Any happy bucks? Oh, I'm sorry, Dave.
Yeah, I'm happy to welcome our exchange student, Kaya, from Brazil, right? Okay. And welcome. Hopefully you can attend a lot of meetings.
Anybody else?
I'll throw a happy bug in.
All right.
So, went for my PET scan 3 months out for my cancer treatment, yesterday. Sent me back my notification, by noon. Told me I'm cancer free, so that's kind of huge.
All right. Oh,
So I have two happy bucks, one for Shannon's news, may continue to be blessed. The other happy buck is that I ran into Shannon's beautiful niece Brianna over the weekend, and I don't know if you remember, Brianna, you came here for about a year to Rotary Days when he was president, used to have her check how she still had all her fingers because she was helping Shannon at work. Well, Brianna works at a store called Anthropology at the Green. I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but she says she misses you guys so much that she wanted us to raffle off a gift card to Anthropology. I don't know if most of you are the demographic in that store, but if you are, there's a clothing store. But if you happen to win, if it's anybody, a woman in your life, if you'd like to pass it on, that'd be great. So if you want to do that, we can take a draw on that, right?
cold extra ticket or?
Yep.
No?
However you want to do it, yes, so here's a good.
And I've got $5 for Shannon too. That's fantastic news.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we ready for the ticket drawing, Chris?
Sorry.
What you need was the calendar. It's secure. All kind of rushing. Good for the. Let's say it's true. Yeah, got all the speak for. Oh. Those people here. Then what? Oh. Still selling tickets. And y'all know the proceeds go for a Christmas festival. The end of the year. Where it's pretty.
Well, this is a coincidence, but there's not a lot of tickets in here on Joe's chair.
And Joe's not here. That's what's in this little. So, forget to. I do my. Spend it very much. All right. Ticket number is 826-189.
Yeah.
All right, 9-189. I know.
I'll get the children.
What happens if we remember? What am I looking for?
Not the Joker.
Not the truck, not talking about, literally candy club. All right.
Santa Claus it is.
All right. All right. Okay, about your turn. I was a little honest, but checking about your turn to win, wasn't it? $1.98. Gonna do $1.98. Right. No. Okay. We can. Make sure just get one this time. Okay. Number 186. That's probably yours too. No, oh, yeah, Brett, nice. Oh, 153 of 186. More than now. Now for a figure. Mark Weinstein going to introduce a figure. Welcome visiting Rotarian.
Yes. So, today's speaker is John Greenwood. John's a 1985 graduate of Cedarville University. He has spent 30+ years in banking, retiring a few years ago how long ago did you retire?
23.
23, yeah, a couple years ago. Retiring as an executive vice president with Huntington Bank. He oversaw 1,000 branches, 7,000 employees, covering 11 states. He currently, as I have written a story by him, my headline is John Greenwood quits retirement to lead Cedarville Leadership Initiative. So John now is back working at Cedarville and new leadership initiative that impacts students, obviously, but also the community. So he's interested in developing future leaders as well as enhancing current leaders. And he's going to talk about that today. And before he comes, one of my favorite quotes from John Greenwood, a leadership perspective is, and he may talk about this, is, if I get it right, culture eats strategy for lunch. And John, come and talk about leadership and the new CU leader program. Thank you.
Mark, well, thanks for allowing me to be at the Rotary Club today. It's great to be with you. I was an 85, a grad from Cedarville, like Mark said. I don't know about you, back then, it feels like the students today that come into to the university know what they want to do the rest of their life. That was not me. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I graduated, and both my parents were in education. My dad was a full-time pastor and a principal and a teacher at Tecumseh High School. My mom was an elementary principal in New Carlisle too. And they said that summer, my mom looked at me and she said, "You can get a job." So I'm like, "Can we just wait to the end of summer?" You know? And so she knew a president of a small community bank in Urbana, Ohio. I grew up in Springfield. So Vince Bailey, who was the president, said, "Send him up here. I want to talk to him." So I went up there on a Saturday morning. Doggone it, he hired me on the spot. And so I had to start Monday morning at the bank. And I started that Monday morning, had my suit on, didn't know what I was getting into, showed up at the bank. And I think I was the first management trainee there. To be quite frank, I'm not sure they knew what to do with me. They put me in bookkeeping. Day one. Exactly. So I go to bookkeeping and they back then checks showed up in this metal tray and you would literally go through manually and put them in these files, making sure they got the right accounts, right? This was over 40 years ago. And I'm sitting there day one, they've got me going through these checks, these files and filing these checks, and I'm trying to be conscientious because last thing you want to do is have somebody's check show up in the wrong statement, right? And I'll never forget old Melba. She was probably 80 years old. She had rubber things on every finger, and she's sitting there just flying. And I hadn't been there an hour. She looked at me and she said, "Son, you need to pick it up." That was my introduction to banking. So yeah, I'll never forget that lady. And so I was there 9 years and had a great experience at that bank. It was Champaign Bank in Urbana, and did a little bit of everything from ag lending, commercial lending, consumer lending, you name it, we did it. And in 9 years, the president who hired me retired. And so I had a person contact me that Huntington wanted to talk to me. So I sat down with Huntington, we talked, and I ended up joining Huntington. I was there 30 years. So I retired at the end of July of 23. I was the executive vice president. I was a director of retail banking. So I was over all the branch network, had a lot of people. But I had a great career there. I was actually the district manager of Dayton Springfield for a while. So I know this part really well. So as a district manager, I was actually the local president for Huntington for Dayton and Springfield for a little while also. So very familiar with this area. But I retired at the end of July of 23 and 61 years old at the time. Good friend who's General Reno at Cedarville University told me, he said, "Take 6 months, just decompress." Great advice. So my wife and I traveled, just kind of relaxed. And then I get a call from the dean of the business school, and he said, "John, come down, I want to have lunch with you." So I go down and have lunch with Dr. Heyman, and he said, "We want to start this Center for Leadership at the university." I said, "Okay." And so what's that mean? And so we talked, and I met with him and Dr. White, the president, for probably over 12 months, just back and forth. They asked me to think about a strategy, what we should think about from a leadership perspective. And so I actually joined the university in January of this year and to help build out a leadership strategy for the university. So the question is really, why leadership, right? Why would they want to do leadership? Why leadership as a whole? Well, I don't know about you, but it feels like we have tons of leadership books, podcasts, you name it. There's tons of it out there, right? But when you look around in today's culture, what do you see? A lack of leadership. Pick the segment of the community. So I don't care if it's national politicians, it could be in education, it could be local pastors, you name it. There's just a lack of good leadership. And so I believe we have a chance to step into that void and make a difference. That's why I'm doing this. And so when I think about leadership and I think about my experiences and the bosses I've worked for over the years, I've worked for some really great people. I've worked for a few duds, some narcissists and real duds, to be quite frank with you. Well, what's the difference? What makes a great leader? The problem with leadership today, as I see it, is that most leaders, people want to be in leadership roles for what reason? They want to, it's self-serving, right? It's self-serving because they want the position, they want to make more money, they want the prestige, they want all this stuff. And the reality is, that's not what leadership's about. And so I believe we have a chance to step in and do something that may be a little bit different. And it's really about how do we frame leadership in a mindset and shift the mindsets in the communities and the business community and everything else to say, if you're going to be a leader, you have to think about leadership from I'm here to serve my colleagues and my customers, right? And what happens is you can get as a leader, and I had to be careful of this too. I mean, I ran a big organization, did very well for myself over time. You can get drunk on power and everybody's kind of kissing your tail and everything else and making you feel good every day, right? And so you've got to really make sure that your perspective stays true to who you are and what your purpose is. And I think we have a chance to help people on this journey and not think about leadership from a self-serve perspective. And so I would really challenge us to think in terms of how do we go out and make a difference in the community? How do we make a difference in the world? And how do we get leaders to think differently where they're going to have a servant mindset? I'm here to serve my people and help them be better. And I'm here to serve my customers or constituents. And if we can get that mindset shift to happen, I think we can make some real differences. And so that's what we're really all about. I'll walk you through the strategy and what we're trying to do at Cedarville. It's really a three-pronged strategy. The first leg of that strategy is really about what's the student experience look like? You know, I've been out in the community now quite a bit, and I've talked to a lot of people. And here's what they tell me about Cedarville grads. They say, we love Cedarville grads. I've talked to Kettering Health, I've talked to a bunch of people. They said, when your graduates come out, they're really confident in their field. They know their stuff. They said, unlike liberal arts schools where they come out and we have to train those kids because they really didn't learn much in their specific fields, right? So my thought is, if that's the view of Cedarville grads, what if we were really good about wrapping leadership skills around that? How fast could they accelerate their careers? What's the impact these graduates can make in the communities and their professions? And so we're really going to be very intentional on how do we think about building out leadership models and a leadership experience for the student body. One thing I've learned is academia moves really slow. And so trying to move that ship sometimes is a little harder than in the business world. I always joke with Mark and others. Steve Steinhauer was CEO of Huntington would give me like a week to get this done. Well, in the student experience, it's probably going to take a couple of years for us to get this done. But we do have a pretty good roadmap. My belief is this. If we can get students to be really good in their field, and we can help them understand how God wired them, and then we can stress test them over the next 3 years while they're in school in a safe environment, we'll turn out even better graduates. And what's that look like? I would love to have a freshman level leadership development class that every freshman takes. And we're talking about that. What's that look like? Can we make that happen? And then every discipline, regardless of where you are in the university, then has 3 years. Number one, we have a common language for leadership. And then also we can put them in a safe sandbox environment for 3 years and stress test. And so what would that look like? I've said this in the business school multiple times. Why don't we have a comm student, marketing student, accounting student, finance student, put them in a team. You call them into the classroom. You don't give them a heads up. Friday afternoon, you put a P&L in front of them and you say, listen, by Monday morning, I need $5 million of expense taken out of this. You can't touch the revenue. You know how many times I had to do that? My career a bunch. That's real life. And they have to report back Monday morning on their tactics and what they're going to do. So when they graduate and they go into the business world and some CEO or some leader says to them, hey, I need you to find exit expense or find more revenue opportunities. They'll go, hey, been there, done that. Know how to do that, right? Know how to think about that. That's to see happen. So we have this whole student piece that we're really working hard on. And hopefully in the next 12 to 24 months, we're going to have that one figured out and really in place. We started early this year with phase 1, kind of a baby step in that journey. But where we really want to go is this whole freshman level leadership development class. I'm going to jump clear to the third leg of that strategy, and then I'll come back to the middle. How's that? I think we have a chance, because I lived it, to engage in the marketplace and help companies with their leadership development. And so at Huntington, I had all the internal resources at my disposal. I didn't need to have external help, although I did hire some people periodically. I don't know if anybody knew Tim Kite. Tim Kite was a leadership development guy. He worked with high state football for years and High State University. Tim and I were friends. He and I did some things with my team at Huntington, but primarily I had this stuff internally to do what I needed to get done. What I know is that a lot of times small, medium-sized companies, church leaders, even educators don't have the internal resources they need to really develop their people. They want to develop them. They want to do the right thing. They want to develop their people, but they don't have the resources. So we can come alongside of them and say, listen, we can help you. I'm working with a guy, my name is Steve Black, who's with Berksey Meyer here in Dayton. Steve's a graduate of Cedarville, and his material aligns with what we're all about. And to be quite frank, a lot of it is stuff I've used in Huntington. So I really like it. So Steve and I are going to go to the marketplace and start to engage with companies and educators and others and say, hey, how can we help? I believe that Cedarville's had a great brand of working with their students and doing a great job on students, but they haven't done a great job externally in the marketplace. If you ask people, I live in Columbus now, but if you ask people in the area, a lot of people outside of the church community, you say, you know, I'm at Cedarville University. Their first question is what? Where's Cedarville? I was talking to Steve Stein, CEO at Huntington, about this. We were talking one night after I retired. He said, Greeny, what are you doing? I said, I'm working at Cedarville University Development Leadership Program. His first comment was, where's Cedarville? And he's 15 minutes from Cedarville. He doesn't know where it is. So we have to go external better and start to engage in the marketplace. I think we need to be viewed more as a value-added resource to come alongside people and help them. And how do we do that? And so that's what we're working on. I think there's a ton of opportunity in that marketplace. And it's all about how do we help people get better? How do we help people know how to build trust, build culture? How do we help them, in essence, drive performance higher in their companies? That's what we're going to be about. And so, boy, if you have any interest there, I'd love to talk with you. But we're getting ready to launch our first class in Dayton, September 24th, 25th. And so if there's any interest there, let me know. But we're going to start building out regional leadership classes and doing specific engagements in the marketplace. So that's kind of the third leg. I'll come back to the middle leg of the strategy. The middle leg of the strategy is really about how do we take the marketplace and bring it to the campus, and how you take the campus and bring it to the marketplace. So we're starting to have conferences on campus. We have an impact conference where we're bringing in really key leaders that we're going to be talking about leadership, AI, all kinds of things that are very pertinent to today's marketplace. That's in October. We're having a big conference. Well, that exposes the business community to the campus and also the students to the marketplace. That's just one thing. We're going to start a leadership podcast. Mark's helping me with that. Thank God Mark's helping me with that, right? Because I don't know what I'm doing with the podcast, but we'll figure that out. But we want to start a leadership podcast to where, again, we can talk about the relevant issues that need to be talked about. How do we bring the right perspective, not just have another talking voice. So we're going to be doing those type of things. We're going to do all speaker series where we're going to bring CEOs and executives to the campus to talk to the students. We're going to live stream that out to the business community for free. So we're going to be doing a lot of things in that middle strategy that really starts to bring the marketplace to the campus and vice versa, brings the students to the marketplace that creates internship, job opportunities, and everything else. And so we're going to build out that strategy. We're in the process of doing that. I'm talking to tons of people in the marketplace, and we're just trying to get this thing off the ground and get it rolling. So very excited with where we're going. I think we have a huge opportunity to make a difference. And here's why I'm doing what I'm doing. For 39 years, all I focused on was driving metrics and quarterly P&L. Because you know what? We got to get the stock price up, right? And so that becomes a grind after a while, right? I mean, it's heads down every day. You're trying to drive that P&L, make more money for the company and all those things. And now my perspective is, how do I really impact people in a positive manner? Can we create a legacy here? A legacy where, at the end of the day, you're helping people become better. They really know who they are. They understand how God's wired. They know how to really now be better, not just at work, but the stuff we're going to talk about is going to transcend just work. It's going to really impact people's home lives. My wife and I, before I went through all these assessments that I did for years, she wanted to talk about every detail in the world at the end of the day. I'd come home after getting bombarded. What do you think I wanted to do? I wanted to sit down and don't nobody but me for a while. And she wanted to tell me every little detail, right? And so the stuff we're going to put people through is really going to help them at home, because your communication, a lot of times your kids and wives, is like this versus like this. And so understanding your style, understanding your spouse's style, all those things, it's just not about work impact, it's about home impact, it's about kids impact. And so if we can do that, we'll make a difference. So I appreciate your time today. I'm really glad to be here. I hope nothing but the best for you and the Beavercreek Rotary. And boy, if you're interested in what we're doing at Cedarville, I'd love to talk to you. But again, thank you very much. Question. There's question time. So I don't know if anybody has any question, but I'm more than happy to answer. Yes, sir.
You said you were gonna introduce a freshman course in leadership.
Yeah.
Does everyone want to be a leader?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have debated this internally, and here's what I would tell you. Full transparency, I'm probably the biggest overachiever Cedarville ever had, because I could have cared less about school. But here's the reality: you don't know when that light bulb goes on in somebody's life. And we've debated, not everybody's a leader. Yeah, but you know what? I'm not here to sift the wheat that early in life. I think we owe it to every student to give them the tools. Because 10 years from now, they may say, I'm ready to go. And their light bulb turns on and their career accelerates. And we may have ignored them too early in life. I just think you owe it to every kid. And then you know what? Let them do with it what they will. I think at some point, they'll probably come back to us and say, thank you. You know what? I didn't appreciate it at the time, but boy, it helped me later. So that's my belief. I just think you owe it to every kid. And let's give it to them. Well, will they use it ever in their life? I don't know. I guarantee it'll help them in their home life. So it'll be better in the church and all things that they're going to do. So I just think we owe it to them. And we got to figure that out. I've got a meeting next week with Dr. White's cabinet to talk through some of that stuff. And the challenge right now is that they're really wanting to pull back some of the general head requirements. And so now I've thought that through a little bit. I'm thinking about how we could do that without classroom time. So we're working through that pretty hot and heavy. Any other questions? Yes, I'm sorry.
General about university. Who's the student body? What did you guys make of? Who's your clientele, customers?
Man, you're maybe better than that than me. I think it's really it's a Christian community of students that really want to have a great Christian biblical education, but at the same time they want to be really confident in their fields. I mean, this is the thing that people don't know about Cedarville, and this is stuff that drives me crazy. Maybe you don't know this. They have one of the best pharmacy schools going. They have a top nursing school. I mean, I literally talked to the president of Kettering Health. He said, we can't hire enough of your Cedarville nursing students. Our accounting students test higher than anybody in the state of Ohio on a CPA exam. They're either one or two.
Yeah.
Boy, Mark, help me out. There's all kinds of
The Industrial Innovative Design Program in Columbus.
the design group in Columbus, top notch, one of the best programs in the country. So we have tons of unbelievable programs. The engineering program, one of the best engineering schools. but nobody really knows that story. And so these kids come in there, and be quite frankly, I couldn't get in this. You know, back then, I had to have somebody take the test for me probably to get in today, but, you know, it's just really about, you want to have an experience that feeds you spiritually and vocationally. And can you walk out the door with a really strong vocational background and a stronger spiritual background? That's who the student body is. Does that make sense? Yeah. I think we have what now, over 60 some,
We have 6,500 students, but I think it's gonna, once census comes next week, I think we're gonna hit 7,000.
we were up to 6,500 students and every other school is shrinking. We can't build dorms fast enough. They're building another apartment building just did for housing. We have record enrollments every year. A lot of people don't know that. And so this is why I think that third leg of the stool, it's important for me and others to be in the marketplace telling the story and creating more opportunities for our students.
Hey, John.
And how do we engage?
You know, with so many people not knowing about Cedar, I think you should fire your PR director.
Yeah. No. What? PR guy, I'm not sure what he's been doing over there.
There's a question back there.
Yes, sir. Another question? Yes, sir.
So let's come back to the culture strategy. Plan you have. If me as a leader, I'm trying to put together a group for a golf scramble, should I focus on getting 3 guys that are a culture fit, or should I go with 3 guys that have individual skill sets to help us win?
I go skill sets. If we end up fighting with each other, as long as you won, that's great. Yeah, yes.
John Maxwell, Marcus Bucking, I think a lot about that. Are there some authors or leaders that you admire or organizational cultures that you admire?
Yeah, it's a great question. Here's, Dr. White and I have said, talked about this quite a bit, and he has wrestled with this a little bit too. You can read a lot of books, and I'll share a couple of examples. Some of these folks have written a lot of leadership books, haven't read anybody. They're just a good author. Does that make sense? I was talking to a CEO here in the Dayton area, and he just puked all over his desk, telling me all the issues. And I was just there with the guy. I had 39 years of experience. There's not much I haven't seen in my 39 years. And I'm just kind of counseling and talking with him. And he said, I have 3 people in my organization for leadership development. They love nobody, but they're in leadership development. So I think those are to me, those are symptoms of the issue, meaning there's tons of authors that are experts that really haven't really led anybody. You have people in organizations that are in leadership development roles that haven't led anybody. And so I just think that from a leadership perspective, I just think you lock on some mentors that you know. That have led, and then you admire. And I would spend time there. I look at organizations like Chick-fil-A. I'll go back at least 10 years ago at Huntington when I was in Steve Steinhauer's office with 2 other individuals, and we were talking about some different things, and service was a big. And he said, "Who do you guys think delivers the best service?" And this had to be at least 10 years ago, and probably more than that. And they were saying Nordstrom, and they do. Nordstrom does a great job. I said, Chick-fil-A. A long time ago. Most people at that point didn't know much about Chick-fil-A. I said, Chick-fil-A. They're in a thin margin game. And they hire the same demographic age guys that work at McDonald's. And they get these kids to say my pleasure. And with a smile on their face, and I get a McDonald's, I get a grunt if I'm lucky. So I look at the organizations like a Chick-fil-A and say, what are they doing culturally? How do they do things different? Those are the things I study, not the books necessarily.
Trader Joe's, good one too.
Trader Joe's. Well, I had a boss early on. I had worked for this lady, Mary Navarro. She was the 8th most powerful lady in banking. She was phenomenal. She said to me one time, she said, John, she said, the thing I love about you is you get results. You always get your results, but how you get them matter. And so for me, those are the things that matter, you know? Listen, I can get results, may not like I get it. And so I think looking for individuals within companies that you can step back and say, man, their retention of college is high. Meaning nobody quits this person. They're always getting results and their culture is really good. Those are the people I've been talking about. Does that make sense? Any other questions? If not, again, thank you very much, Mark. Sorry.
So if there's anyone in the room that wants to learn more about CU Lead, how can they?
Well, that was a real tee up, wasn't it? That was well done, Mark. So if you're interested in what we're doing, we have a website specifically for this. It's cedarville.edu/CU lead. And if you go there, you'll see exactly what we're doing. Everything we're going to be doing will be posted on that website. And so it's kind of a standalone deal. So again, love to engage with you if we can help you in any way. Love to talk with you. So why we're here. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, John. We appreciate it. A lot of good information. So what we always do, we donate a book to the Green County Library for our speakers. And we have our speaker sign it. John's already signed this one. And Chris is over there. Wanted to take a picture here.
Where's the record we got?
It's the book. The book is Maybe. A story about the endless potential in all of us.
There you go. Perfect.
That is very fitting.
That's perfect.
Anyway,
Thank you. Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. Next week's speaker is Carl Coleman from the Green County Library. Greeters are Joe Jenkins and Steve Temple. And keep an eye on the Facebook page and the Beavercreek, Beavercreekrotary.com for our upcoming programs and what's going on in the neighborhood. Is anything else we good for the club? No, get some? You all right with the flag, please? I'd like to say this to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, a nation under God, this liberty and justice for all. Good night. Have a good weekend. Bye. Hey, Gospel Break. Show me. Thank you. Well, you're not quite time. No. You know, around here, like, one pretty ones. Don't worry for you. Help it. I